Hello Rebels and welcome back to my life. So it's Punishment Sunday and I was assigned the punishment of writing an essay comparing the Hunger Games to the Twilight series. On the surface you'd think these two book series had a bunch of similarities. They're both written for the young adult audience, they both have female protagonists, they're both incredibly popular and have led to these huge movie franchises that have made the authors millions and millions of dollars. But that's pretty much where the similarities end. First of all, there's the subject of genre. Twilight is urban fantasy, meaning that it's a fantasy setting in like a modern day contemporary world. Whereas Hunger Games is futuristic dystopian science fiction, meaning specifically science fiction that takes place in a society that just kind of sucks. Twilight is obviously almost painfully unrealistic. We know that vampires don't exist, and if they do, they definitely don't sparkle in the fracking sun. But Hunger Games is terrifyingly real. It's so easy to see how modern society could end up in a Hunger Games-like scenario where terrible wars have led to a totalitarian government that rules districts with an iron fist. Meanwhile, in Twilight, you've got a secret society of vampires who live for centuries and yet are hopelessly behind the times. Edward and the Cullens don't even use frackin' cell phones, which would have been useful when Edward thought Bella died and called her to check. He ended up calling her on a landline, which I'm pretty sure no one owns anymore, even in backwoods rural towns like Forks. And then when he does, Jacob picks up the phone because he just happens to be in the house at that moment. I mean, who does that? Okay, so that's world building. Let's talk protagonists. Bella and Katniss are both young females with two men vying for their attention. And as with the world building, the similarities end pretty quickly. Bella is completely defined by her relationships to Edward and Jacob. Her only motivation in the entire series is her love for Edward and her desire for him to reciprocate that love. The series has been widely criticized for Bella's descriptions of Edward. For example, the number of times she describes him as having perfect alabaster skin and haunting amber eyes. Even when they have a child together, there are far too many descriptions of Bella talking about how much she loves Renesmee. Sorry, that name. But she describes Renesmee only in terms of how she reminds Bella of Edward. Meanwhile, Jacob is just a six-pack with legs. Both of the men are hyper-idealized fantasy men. Neither one of them smacks of anything realistic or believable. Meanwhile, the contestants for Katniss's hand are two men with depth and personality. In short, Bella is defined by her relationship to the man that she loves and the man that loves her. Katniss is defined by her love of family first, her sense of duty to her district and eventually the people of Panem, and finally by her close friendship with Peeta and Gale, neither one of which she's really sure that she's in love with. The first thing on Katniss's mind is how can I survive, and after that, how can I protect my family and my people? The first thing on Bella's mind is, does Edward love me? How can I make him love me more? Perfect alabaster skin. Finally, there's plot and story, and again, Katniss is a clear winner. She starts off with a clear and definite decision to protect her little sister Prim by volunteering as tribute.
I volunteer as tribute!
On the other side of the spectrum, Bella very nearly does nothing throughout her story. In the arms of the angel. She's a limp rag through the whole series, and it's hard for us to root for somebody like that. Bottom line, if Bella was put in Katniss's scenario, she would have died at the cornucopia the second the shot went off. If Katniss was put in Bella's situation, she'd bitch-slap Edward for being a sissy sparkling vampire, and then, I don't know, enter a death match with James, armed only with a bow and arrow, fire a shot through his heart, kill him, and then lead an organized revolution against the Volturi as soon as they came to Forks. That's my analysis of both of the series. Even though this was supposed to be a punishment, this turned into one of my favorite videos I've made in a while, so if you want to see an analysis comparison between two of your favorite book series, leave them in the comments. I want to do more of these. And I'm almost out of time, so I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. I almost forgot to tell you to subscribe, but if I don't tell you to subscribe, then you don't subscribe, and then I don't have any more subscribers, and who wants that?